obsessions. How do I talk about this without attracting weird comments? Hello everyone and welcome to Shalom Aleichem. So today we will be continuing the Pure O series and I will be talking about sexual obsessions. I recently had a chat with my psychiatrist, well my now old psychiatrist, and that led me to make this video. Due to the nature of the topic, I ask that you please keep the comments appropriate. Let's get started. People with OCD have so many embarrassing obsessions that they think they couldn't tell anyone, at least without them thinking they're a monster. For me, the most embarrassing ones are the sexual obsessions. If you watch my obsessions and compulsions video, link will be somewhere, you will know that I was diagnosed with OCD because of my harm and violent obsessions, and they were later replaced by the sexual obsessions, but they both had a similar theme of focusing around one or two people in my life. So I have a lot of experience with this topic. So what are sexual obsessions? First of all, if you don't already know, an obsession is an intrusive thought someone with OCD gets and is fearful of. A sexual obsession is an OCD obsession that has a sexual nature. And before you say, oh, everyone has sexual thoughts, Kat, these thoughts are of things the person does not want to do. They're usually about being attracted to something taboo or immoral in that person's beliefs. Sexual obsessions can be particularly hard to suffer from because they attack a person's identity. People with sexual obsessions will often experience guilt, shame, depression, hopelessness, along with the anxiety. Because of all of this and faulty beliefs about their obsessions, people often wait a long time before seeking treatment or never get the treatment they deserve. Now on to types of these obsessions. People with sexual obsessions will often get images in their head that have to do with a certain body part or a sexual act. They can also get thoughts or urges about doing something inappropriate with a child, an animal, or anything that's taboo. They may also think things like, what if I'm attracted to this person? Or what if I want to have sex with this person? Or what if that person's attracted to me? Or what if I lose control and do something I regret with that person? These people worry excessively about these things and it often interferes with their daily lives. A related type of OCD, HOCD, is where a person fears they are gay when they are straight or fears they are straight when they are gay. Other common sexual obsessions include, but are not limited to, fear of becoming a pedophile or being a pedophile, fear of being sexually attracted to animals, dead things, religious persons, God, relatives, or authority figures, parents fearing being sexually attracted to their own children, or fear of becoming aggressive or violent during sex. As you can imagine, these thoughts really mess with a person's mind and to the point where they don't know their own morals, they don't know who they're really attracted to. These people often look for reassurance that they aren't attracted to what they fear they're attracted to. The problem with that is, no amount of reassurance will ever satisfy OCD. You can never be 100% sure and OCD will not be satisfied with 99%. That is why it is extremely helpful to do exposure and response prevention therapy or acceptance and commitment therapy to learn to accept that uncertainty. Also, people with these obsessions will often avoid people, places, or things that trigger their obsessions. Now let's get personal. So when I first started developing Pure O intrusive thoughts, the sexual ones were very minor and usually about men. A lot of times I would just see a mental image of a penis, or if I was, this is really bizarre, but if I was imagining something, sometimes I'd imagine, like not on purpose, but I'd see like a penis like slithering around like some sort of penis snake, which is really weird. And I told you guys about my thought that I randomly got that just said, have sex with Mariah Carey. Still don't know why I got that thought. It was totally irrelevant at the time. My bigger sexual obsession started around the fear of being raped. Now I'd had a fear of men, a slight fear of men all my life, so it's not very unpredictable that I would get this obsession. When the thoughts first started, they were about a therapist in the OCD program I was in. Why were they about him? Probably because I liked him the most and I would spend a lot of time with him since every day we were doing an exposure for my social anxiety. I started getting obsessions saying, what if he rapes me, and being afraid to be alone with him. I trusted him, but I could not shake that fear. Because I was embarrassed and didn't want her to judge me, it took me way too long to tell my psychologist what was going on. This is why I want to make this video, so other people who are experiencing these obsessions can go and tell their therapist sooner rather than later. Because I waited so long, the thoughts got kind of bad, but once I started working on them, they got a little better. After I left the program, the thoughts about the therapist went away, but they started happening about someone new, my psychiatrist. But like the last time, I waited a very long time to tell my psychologist what exactly was going on. Also, the obsessions were so hard, I would never really resist. I felt like if I resisted, I would be a bad person. So the obsessions got really bad. I developed a lot of association anxiety around him, and I remember one time crying in the shower the night before his appointment. But actually, let me read you some of the things from the list I made in my journal about triggers that are associated with him. His name, obviously, but that's harder than it sounds because his name is also a word, at least his last name. Hospitals, hospital signs, all medical doctors, the hospitals where he works, ties, Jaguar cars because he drives one, and occasionally the animal. And I think you get my point. OCD knows no bounds. Eventually, I asked for help and started taking baby steps to telling her information about the new obsessions. Actually, the first exposure I ever did about these obsessions was at my psychiatrist's office. I was doing an exposure with one of his fellows, and we decided to do an exposure with my sexual obsessions. So she basically had me repeat, maybe his name will rape me. And at first I said it really softly, but eventually she got me to say it louder. She wanted me to yell it, but that would never happen as long as he was in the building. Perhaps I shouldn't have told her because then he knows about it, but honestly, it helped me get more help, so I don't regret it. Now my obsessions are not usually about rape. They're still about my psychiatrist, but after doing exposures about it for the past 2 years, it's gotten a lot better. Still though, I get thoughts like the ones described above. What if I'm attracted to him? What if he's attracted to me? What if we do something together? To me, well, my OCD, the worst thing I could do would be sleep with someone who I really shouldn't, like an authority figure. Just recently I had a talk with my psychiatrist about my sexual obsessions and about my real views on sex. He brought up the problem of knowing when it's OCD and when it's not, and I really think that could be a big problem for me when I eventually get into a relationship. For example, most of my thoughts are usually about a guy like ages 35 to 70, but recently I started getting obsessions about men who are my age, men that I could potentially date someday. Despite my intrusive thoughts, my views on sex are that it's good in the right context, meaning between two people who love each other and are married to each other. I don't think sex is bad. When I told my psychologist this, she told me that that takes away power from OCD, and while I don't make my beliefs based on what my OCD says, it's still good to know. And my psychiatrist told me that he's worked with people with sexual and religious obsessions before, and he thinks that I'm a lot more ahead than people usually are when they start out with these thoughts. And to that I say, where are these people and can we be best friends? The moral of this video is that sexual thoughts are nothing to be ashamed of, and please don't be afraid to tell your psychiatrist or psychologist or whoever about them so you can get the help that you need. Thoughts are just thoughts, especially ones that just pop into your head. They don't mean anything about you. Especially since these thoughts scare you, that shows me that you're a person who knows right from wrong. Anyway, thank you guys for watching this video. I really hope it helped you. I poured a lot of my heart into this video. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I will see you all later. I'm Shalom.